And Moshe, your story is so amazing. When I met up with you after you left CBS, I think it was about 2 years ago, less than 1,000 followers on Instagram. Now you have almost 200,000 followers in 2 years. And it's not like you were an Instagram, you know all the tricks and trades of how to do things on Instagram. You just started putting out stories, summarizing the most important news stories, and just put them out for like hundreds of people. And did you ever think this was going to grow as big as it has?
No, this was a way. So my Instagram account, which is just my first name at Mosheh, I found it as a way to deal with my like quarantine anxiety in March of 2020, right? Like I'm watching Cuomo briefings, Trump briefings, learning about who Anthony Fauci is. My family is like, what am I supposed to do? Do I need to leave? Do I need to dig a tunnel and, build a bunker? Like, no. And I was just trying to curate, reliable information. I thought it was a temporary thing. I didn't see it as any sort of avenue to anything. And then it continued to grow. COVID never quite went away. I started to cover other issues and found that I could have some real impact in a way that even being at CBS, where I broadcast to millions of people on, even in those early days of a couple thousand people following me on Instagram, that I could put a story out and hear from a nurse in one hospital, hear from a PPE distributor in China who both happen to follow me on Instagram, and be able to connect them in that way. So both be able to report reliable information and then actually help people translate that into, real life things. And so I've seen that. I saw that in Afghanistan last summer too, where I was putting out maps of the airport and where people are getting through. And I'm hearing from Marines who are trying to get their Marines in California, trying to get their interpreters in Kabul to the right exit. And you could see the real impact you can have. And so that's been really fulfilling. And, we'll see where that goes.
How does that improve what you cover by having such a direct connection with your audience?
Well, ultimately, I think this as a journalist, is that ultimately you try to cover what's most interesting or what your boss has assigned you to, come up with a new take on something. In the case of reporting news, curating news, reporting original things on social media, what you then hear is directly from the consumer, like, hey, I'm a teacher in Iowa. I've experienced that. Or I'm a teacher in Iowa. And what the New York Times reporting is not accurate. This is what I'm experiencing. Or, hey, why haven't you covered X issue? You start to hear from a bunch of folks and you're like, that's a good question, because traditional media in the country hasn't covered X issue, but let me look into this for you. So having that direct link and relationship with the consumer, both as a fact check and a check as to what's interesting and what's relevant to them, is something that is great on this platform. And we haven't been able to quite figure out on the more traditional media platforms. It's one of those things where if, COVID has been has had such an impact in so many ways, in so many terrible ways, but it also has allowed a lot of folks to take a pause and realize what they're passionate about and experiment. And so this has been, in the last couple of years, of enabled me to experiment there and see what's possible.